Hello guys, got a slightly different one here for you today. What we're going to be doing is taking apart a Rapid. Now this particular one is a Rapid Mark 1 and it's in a very nice Gary Kane stock. So this is a recent acquisition of mine, a little bit of a blast from the past, but still a quite nice rifle. So what I'm going to be doing with this one is taking it apart and I'm going to have a go at remaking one of these blocks. So I'm going to be taking it apart, modelling it in 3D, making myself up a set of plans, then trying to copy the block. I probably won't do it exactly, as this is a Mark 1, it has no regulator, and the bottle's a bit of a faff to fill, so I'll probably try and make some sort of quick fill system at the front. But with that being said, let's get started. So the Rapid is a bit like the HW100 that we took apart. We need to burp the bottle before we can take it off. So what we'll do, we'll just undo the bottle a couple turns, cock and fire the rifle, obviously in a safe direction, until we hear the power start to drop. So power's still staying where it is, so I've done another 2 turns. There we have it, bottle's now loose on the rifle and we can safely unscrew it. So these bottles do have a one-way valve fitted, and if you just unscrew them, what happens is you blow this O-ring out here. And for those unfamiliar with the Mark 1 Rapids, you do have to take the bottle off to fill it. You get a little fill adapter here that screws onto the bottle. Then you can just attach this end to the Foster fitting on your whip. But that's how you fill the bottles up. So I'll stick this to one side. Right, next we'll drop the stock out. And that's just these 2 screws here and a 4mm Allen key. Then pull the trigger guard off and then lift the stock off. So once the stock's off, we'll take the 2 scope rings off. We need to take the front one off to get to the barrel screw anyway. So that's done with a 3mm Allen key in my case. Once the top of the cap's taken off, we reveal this little screw here. Now on my rifle this is a 5mm Allen key, however it has been modified so your one may be a 4. Here it is there. Then we can take the barrel screw out. This is just a little retention screw and it's done using a 3mm Allen key. And then finally we can release the barrel pinch bolt. Right then, now that's off, we'll take the rear scope ring off. Again, just using a 3mm Allen key. And then this little bolt here can be undone. That's using a 4mm Allen key. Now that that's off, we'll take off the bottle fitting here. I'm just going to be using an adjustable spanner and cracking it loose. These can be quite tight, so you might need to grip the block in the vise. And there we have it there. I believe this is a modified item. I think this is called a fast flow port. Not exactly sure what the difference is, however I know on other models that I've seen it doesn't have this recess and the hole in it. Next we'll take out the exhaust valve covering. In my case that's done with a 5mm Allen key. However, if you look at my one, it's quite worn and damaged, so the previous owner obviously didn't use the right Allen key in it, so your one may be slightly different. But a 5mm in my one fits. Undo that screw. I'll be pulling the exhaust valve and the housing out in one piece after we've taken the hammer spring out. So we'll do that now, and this one is an adjustable one. It's not standard, I don't think. This has been added on afterwards. But in my case it takes a 3/16 Allen key. We'll just undo that. There it is there. And we can tip the hammer spring and a little inertia weight out. These are just PTFE spring guides I've made. I believe the originals just come with a Delrin spring guide for each end. Now on most rifles you need to take the trigger out to get the hammer out. However on the Rapid we just need to pull the sear up and then we can tip the hammer back and it just comes out the back. Very useful as the trigger has a little trick to get it out without all the pieces flying everywhere. I'll show you that in a second. But here's the hammer, slightly modified by me. I've put a extended brass tip on it. The idea being that the longer the hammer, the shorter the stroke, so that should help with efficiency and make it so that there's not a lot of lock time. Next we'll take out the bolt carrier, and that's done with a 3/32 Allen key. It can be quite tight, so what you might need to do is use a spanner on the Allen key, like so. You can tip the dog out, and now we can just take out the bolt handle, and the whole probe assembly will be able to be pulled out. They're done with a 5mm Allen key. And there's the pellet probe and bolt carrier. Fairly interesting design on the Rapids. You don't use a breech O-ring. All that happens is that this face here, so this face here, seals on this outer lip. Then as the probe goes in, it exposes this little pin and pushes the pellet where it needs to be. You can see the pin there. And that does away with the need for a breech O-ring, and it's quite a clever idea. You can, if you want to, take this apart further, and that's just with that little circlip there. However, I'm not going to be bothering with this in this video. Next we'll take out this little protection plate here, and that's using a 3/32 Allen key. All this little plate does is protect the aluminium from getting worn as you pull the bolt back. I believe later Rapids also put a plate around the whole assembly, but in the Mark 1 just the bottom was protected. Next we're going to get the trigger out. Now to do this properly, what you need is a slave pin. What this pin does is, as you push it through, it takes the place of the one you're pushing out and allows you to extract the trigger within one piece. If you don't have a slave pin, what will happen is you'll drive the pin out and a spring will come unseated and the trigger will fall out. It is possible to put them back, but it's just much easier to pull it out in one piece with a slave pin. So all we need to do is push it through. Sometimes these are tighter than others, and you may have to loosen this screw at the back here. If the trigger's not dead in line, when you go to push the pin in, it gets jammed halfway through. But since mine's pretty straight, I should be able to just push the slave pin through. And there it comes. It's all the way out the side of the trigger, so I'll just push it through. And that should allow me to pull the trigger out without anything coming loose. So next we'll take this bolt out. This one's been a bit mullered, but it's I believe it's a 3/16 Allen key. It's the one that fits on this gun. Just take it out. So there's the spacer for the stock bolt and a little star washer. Then there's the trigger in one piece. This is known as the Gammo trigger. Quite a cheap and cheerful trigger, but it does the job. So the last thing we need to remove is the exhaust valve. So first we're going to take a 1.5mm Allen key and undo this locking bolt. Take that out. With the grub screw out we can push the valve out. Now you can just pull on this spring and the valve pin will come out, but that will leave the little Delrin valve housing in the block. So what I've done is I've turned myself up a little bit peak, or you could use a long Allen key or something and push it down there. What this allows us to do is just to pull the whole assembly out as one unit. And there it is there. So this is a modified one, and the original looks like this. Slightly different. The one on the modified valve has a turn down pin in the centre, and it has a flat face rather than the angled one that the standard valve comes with. A couple other differences, but those are the main ones. And then now we can just separate the two pieces. Now if you want to keep this O-ring good, you need to be very careful as you pull it out, as the transfer port drill in here can tear the O-ring, but since I'm going to be replacing these, I just pulled it out. Right then, that's pretty much the whole block disassembled. If I wanted to, I could take out these little side pieces here, and that would be done with just a 1.5mm Allen key in there, and then undo them. Like so. And then the barrel pinch bolt can just be pushed out. I'm going to leave it in for now as I see no reason to take it out. But if you wanted to, you could just push it out from this side. Right then guys, the reassembly of this block's probably going to be a little while, as I'm going to 3D model everything, make myself up a set of drawings, and then do the same for a few of the components. So the reassembly will be coming, but not for a little while. With that being said, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.